Hey, all you mutant goons! It's a new episode and a new month. This one was completely improvised, so pardon our improvisational skills, if that's a word. PBS, right? Well, anyway, this was about some other stuff, but we ended up going into the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Netflix. So go ahead and listen to us. It does take a little bit of time to get in because we were all getting situated. Everyone had to take a piss, and it was a good time. But without further ado, enjoy Slashers Podcast presents Woman's March and Texas Chainsaw Massacre Netflix. So enjoy.
This. What? God damn it.
This whole thing is just, I don't even know.
This is why I wanted to sit out.
I haven't even, in fact, I didn't piss. Remember when I said I was going to take a piss? I parked the car right now. I just ran in the house and threw my shit in the
So I should probably step out then, right?
No, you have to stay here and fill in for Doug while he goes and pisses, and then he'll come back, and then we'll go back to doing the free balling episode. But here, you can honorarily have balls like the rest of us. Your balls are just inside your tummy.
You mean my fallopian tubes?
No, it's talking about the ovaries attached to those fallopian tubes. Boom. I know women's anatomy.
Fallopian tubes. I love Olive Garden.
Oh my God. I gotta go. I can't do it.
No, you are obligated to be here until Doug shakes his wang and gets those drips out.
Doug, go pee.
Give me real quick sec.
We don't want him rushing. He could hurt. We all know that pee comes from the balls, and if he does it too quickly, he won't have balls anymore, and he'll be a girl like you, and he can't be on freeballing episodes.
Oh, well, then why am I here? Oh, wait,
because you're filling in for Doug with your imaginary lady ball tummy.
Oh my God.
It's not imaginary. It's just what did someone said? Someone said, I think it was who's that funny lady who's on? Oh, she does a lot of animated voices too. Anyways, she said a dick is a vagina that fell out.
Oh, wow. I like that.
A dick is a vagina that fell out?
Yeah, because you have your balls, which are your ovaries, and then
look at there's Doug's butt again. Sorry.
The head is the clit, but enlarged and fallen out, and like everything guys have, women have, but inside of them.
Well, because the only reason we have nipples is because fetuses start out as female, and then the Y chromosome goes and fucks all that up. So
there's more women than men because it takes an extra step for the extra chromosome to come in.
Which is why we have dominion over women, because we're more specialer, right?
Which is why I only have sex with men.
Is this what we're going to play during Women's March Month? This is what's happening.
Yes. I have a... Yes.
Actually, I'll agree to change it to Men's March.
Yes, while you were gone.
We're underrepresented in every...
Oh, sorry. Yes, you only get to run the fucking world and make more money than me. But yes, you're underrepresented.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to only do Keanu Reeves horror movies, which is very limited. And we're going to call it Whoa, Men's March.
No.
I'm glad somebody at least gave me a pity laugh, albeit one Mississippi, two Mississippi. Cue Mikey's laugh.
Because everyone's afraid of the look of death that I am exuding right now.
Yes.
At that, so.
The sun balances it out.
The
sun kissing your face, it's just, there's no...
Do you think the sun is male or female? Let's talk about that.
The sun?
Well,
it's always giant plasmoid ball.
It's always on its period, so female.
Oh.
I mean, if you go with the Romans, isn't it a god?
Helios, yeah, but the Helios was a dude, and he had the chariots. So that's an interesting one. We could also get a Norse mythos. Who do you think would win in a fight, Aid? Zeus or Odin? There is a correct answer.
Odin.
Yes.
Thank you. I know.
Doug, can you think of why? Doglitas?
Odin? Wasn't Odin the guy from Son of the Mask?
Oh, you son of a bitch.
The one that yells at Loki.
Well, you actually do have your comic history, right? Because that mask is Loki's mask. But Odin gave up his eye to drink from the well that gave him all of the knowledge. So he'd be a better tactician. And plus, Zeus would be too busy fucking little boys to engage in out-and-out combat, and he would lose.
Oh, so Zeus was at Epstein Island then?
Yes, exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Who was the god of not committing suicide? Ah, it was Jeffrey Epstein. He was the Roman god of not committing suicide.
Well, he's scheduled to. Someone's scheduled to commit suicide. That girl sometime this week. So
Oh yeah, Ghislaine.
yeah.
I mean, we all had to knew she was a sex offender when jizz is in her name, right?
Oh, my
Oh
God.
yeah. You know, I love it when she was arrested. She's like, "No, I can't go to jail. They have the wrong lotion in the showers. I gotta use expensive stuff."
Yeah. Well, I mean, if she went into the men's showers, they would have a completely different kind of lotion.
Yeah, rubs the lotion on the skin.
Yeah. Remember that was a thing on Nip Tuck where they were cultivating boy sperm for facial masks. That was a provocative show.
I
I'm not-
actually saw that like clip on YouTube recently. It was her son's, right?
Yeah. Foul. What?
I don't remember that. I don't
It-
remember that at all.
This is later seasons.
I
You go
don't-
from a slasher flick into just doing things to be confrontational show, which was, bold.
I didn't. I stopped watching it when they went to LA because I'm like, who cares? They're not in Miami anymore. So
Oh,
Miami, the San Francisco beach.
you
they should
left
have CSI
Miami for
El
this.
Monte.
Oh, that would be fun.
All right, I'm going to step away for just a moment.
Oh, you actually are going to stay on the show? Great.
No. I gotta. I'm a hot mess. I don't even know what we're talking about.
We
Shows-
neither do we. But you said you were going to just a moment. Are you
Just a
done for the
moment.
episode? Or are you going to stay? Yeah, and do the
Do you want?
deed?
I'll stay. I'll stay.
Yes.
All right.
Come,
Okay.
come,
Change the
come.
background.
All right,
Change
Now-
all right.
the
Just
background.
give me a second. Give me a second.
Now Doug is going to be you, but with his ovaries on the outside.
Yeah.
See, we're filling in for each other. It's like
Wanna see
verse.
the shirt?
Yeah, CSA. Thanks for the memories.
What's the titty shirt say, Mikey?
It says, I would totally survive in a horror movie. I bought it for the gym because it's really big and comfortable, but I thought it was cute.
Do you think that you would survive in a horror movie?
No.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
Sorry, buddy.
it depends.
No, Scream 4 showed that gay characters die too.
He wasn't even gay.
Isn't that what the guy's like? Wait a minute, I'm gay. You can't kill me.
He said it out of desperation. I don't think he was actually gay.
Oh. He's basically saying it'd be discrimination. I saw Scream 4 one time, and that was enough to never think about it again because it was bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't put too much thought into it because they literally just like blurted it out right before he got killed. But
Yeah. Well, now I haven't seen the new one. Is it any good?
I liked it. It wasn't like groundbreaking. See, there's an unfair thing going on right now where everybody's shitting on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I love that. I actually liked it. I watched it a second
too.
time and I liked it more.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that. That'll be our theme because we've all seen it.
Yeah.
Boom. And it can be in Women in Horror Month because he wears a lady's face.
and puts makeup on it.
Yeah.
Very new next generation. Next generation? Is that what it's called? Or is that Star
Yeah.
Trek?
Next generation.
Well, the Next
Ah,
Generation is a Texas Chainsaw, and it's also a Star Trek.
Oh, they're in the same universe?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Michael McConaughey and his robot leg are up in space.
Matthew McConaughey.
Dude,
Oh,
Chop Top would be an extraordinary foil for Data, right?
Yeah, he just
Okay.
fuck around on the computer.
Whatever that means.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What does that mean? You know what a foil is, right?
I didn't say what does that mean. I said whatever that means. You left out.
Whatever that means. You know what a Data is. Data, Brett Spinner, however it's supposed to be pronounced. He's the
haven't
robot
seen-
guy.
I haven't seen any of the Starses. No Star Wars, no Star Trek, no.
I've seen Star
Wars.
Putas. I was at this porno store in Pomona before the pandemic happened, and they had a movie called Star Putas.
I would watch that one because I can relate to that.
Honestly, I'd consider watching it. But Star Trek: The Next Generation is like the best show. That's why I'm like a crazy libtard, because I've watched that show and I was like, oh, this is what we should aspire to. We shouldn't be bombing babies and keeping people in cages. We should be working towards the common goal of discovery, discovering our bodies.
Did you see the trivia about like how Lucille Ball funded Star Trek?
Yep.
Cool.
Well, it's also like the lineage and history going into it. Like Gene Roddenberry, he wanted the original number 2 to be a woman. So if you go back and watch the Menagerie episodes, that was actually the original pilot. And so they ended up, the studio was like, you can't have a chick. And so he was actually very clever because Nichelle Nichols, who's Uhura, she actually is third in command, if I'm not mistaken. So not only is it a woman who's almost second in command, it's also a Black woman. So, there are some regressive elements to his character, but by and large, super progressive. So, yeah, if you haven't checked it out, there are a lot of good like horror episodes too. The old one really was like a monster of the week, the original series, and the next gen is a little bit more esoteric. But we're here to talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, apparently, because this was going to be a filler episode. We were just going to talk because I haven't been on an episode in weeks, and you were all kind enough to placate me. And it just so happens that we've all made time to watch Foot Fetish Alvarez's Texas Chainsaw Massacre that the other directors didn't want to do, and this guy apparently did. Adrian, you laughed and shook your head. What's going on?
I just your name for my Fede Alvarez, which I was like, why does no one want to talk about how beautiful this man is? Like, firstly, and secondly, I think he did well with it. I mean, it was a screenplay, so he didn't direct it, but I whatever.
I think he's just the story by, and then it's Chris Thomas Devlin as the screenplay.
Oh, he did the story? No, I thought he did the screenplay too. That's what I read.
I had read that it's just the story credit goes to him and that the other guy gets it. The other guy doesn't have any writing credits except for he just did a new thing called Cobweb. So maybe he's just the guy who put the story to form. But yeah, that's the way I had read it online multiple places.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
Sidebar. I don't think we did a successful intro, but that's just a sidebar.
Okay. This is Slashers, your new favorite podcast about your new favorite horror media. 11 minutes in. My name is Jake, and with me, as always, are my esteemed colleagues, co-hosts, and cohorts, Doug, Adrian, and Mikey, who just actually'd me to his detriment. Say hello to the mutant goons from beyond.
Uh-oh. I see
Yeah,
a little.
hi, everyone.
Someone's in trouble.
We're already starting off on a bad foot, but it's fine.
I didn't even know we were recording. So hi guys, it's Doug.
Are we supposed to press record on Audacity? I'm just kidding.
11 minutes and 35 seconds ago, yes.
Well, okay. No, I wasn't going to stay. And if Dan puts the TV on, I might have to go. So that's my only caveat for this episode.
Is he like Al Bundy, like takes his socks off and he's like, hey, get me a beer. I'm gonna watch my sports.
Yeah, he kind of is.
Oh no.
You don't make him watch TV with the headphones on? Like when I watch something for just myself, my wife heavily implies that I am to do that where no one else can hear it. This movie included.
Okay, so that's implying that your wife is in charge, right? I am not in charge.
Yes.
I just want everyone to know that I am not in charge. So
You have subverted yourself in Women in Horror Month. You need to take it back.
Well, if he's watching the Roku, he can get the Roku app and plug headphones in.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
we have a new TV in the living room, new TV in the bedroom. So we don't have Roku anymore, actually. We just have these Samsung TVs that are just ridiculously large and are really hard to put the sleeper timer on. So that's my.
Oh no! How are you going to see Grandpa Oates?
I know. Well, I have to get the Roku thing. So, I mean, I still have my other TV, but apparently it's not good enough to be in the vicinity. So it's sitting in storage.
Yeah,
so it wasn't broken. You literally rented storage space to put a working TV.
Well, all my shit's in storage. So the day that I pick up and go, I can just. I'm kidding. So yeah, my TV is in there. So literally nothing is mine anymore, and it's very sad. This is my life. So.
But is it ours now? Is that or is it just all Dan's?
It's not mine. I didn't pay for it. So.
Well, Aid, I think I owe you a gift or something, so I'll mail you like a Roku. I think I have an extra one or something.
No, you don't owe me anything. No,
it's the one that little plugs into the TV.
We should probably cut all that out because I don't want to sound like a bitter bitch. But anyways,
it's staying in for sure.
Yeah.
People need to know the plight of women in Women in Horror Month.
Oh my God, there's no plight.
A woman will even complain about a free TV. Am I right, fellas?
Yeah.
You know how they be.
Oh, it's that Insignia brand, isn't it? That's horrible.
I hate you, Dad.
She's complaining about Samsung. Damn it.
Samsung.
I was going to say Samsung, but then she wants to complain about Dan's hung, which is a penis joke.
Yeah.
But
Not on Women's March. We can do it next month.
I'm ruining the free balling episode by my very presence. So I feel terrible at that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like ping pong myself in, but I was like, oh my God, everybody's going to be talking and I'm not there. It made me feel so badly. So sorry.
Yeah, that's become my life. But I mean, at least I'm still affiliated with the show. Where I was like, oh, I'm crying in Monster Squad because I have to quit. And then I was like, I'm not gonna quit. This is like you're like my only real friends. And then you guys record without me because I'm like, I'm busy and I'm listening.
Oh, well, hopefully we're not killing the show too much for you. So
I've listened to every episode and I haven't said shit. That was so funny when Coker was like, I could say whatever I want. And I was like, yeah, bitch, you could say whatever you want.
You gave him free reign. You gave him the key to the city. So
you did. I know. And now
I
he's
might
going to
regret
say
this.
whatever he wants.
Yeah.
well, I'll fill in for Coca right now. Blech.
Yeah.
Oh my God. If he clears his throat or coughs into the mic one more time, I'm going to just reach through and strangle him.
Dude,
I
he's a
told him
phlegmy
that.
boy, huh?
Yeah, I told him that.
You know, him.
Like just tip back, but who am I to say? I fucked up last time. Jakey missed it. We had to start over like 3 times because I forgot to plug in my headphones the first time.
Oh,
For Chopping
no.
Mall, right?
Yeah.
It was a hot mess.
Oh my
Oof.
God. That's my
Dude,
life.
that feedback is so great. I love it.
Well, it's not there anymore because I recorded it fine and I put the headphones in.
That's a great thing about editing that I think a lot of people don't realize is that you don't have to do half the work if you get the audio right the first time, which I didn't really do. I just did it the hard way when we started this show because we had USB mics and we had to, for anybody who has Yeti mics, putting 2 of the most common Yeti in at the same time, they have the same serial number. So your computer reads it the same. So you have to get a splitter, you have to do audio test. And so we would do all of these things before I finally broke down and bought a mixer. And even then there is, if you're like an audiophile, you'll hear like a slight echo. So even when I would record it in person with someone, I'd still have to do all the work of literally editing each and every single phrase where I'm muting the other person if I'm not taking out anything else. And now that you guys are all far away and we're in our little echo chambers, it's actually better. So you're welcome, audience.
Yay.
Yay.
Always thinking of others.
I am I'm the humblest and most generous of the hosts. I think we can all agree, which is why I'm going to take over. We're going to talk about David Blue Garcia, the guy so profane that Blue Material is his middle name. How the fuck do you direct one movie called Tejano in 2018, and then you get to take the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise? Explain this to me.
Well, no one wanted to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually pretty solid.
Which
I had a 16-year-old today tell me all of the problems of the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like literally, he stopped class. He's like, "Did you see it?" And I said, "Yes." So we had a whole conversation, and all the kids are sitting there pissed off because now we spoiled it.
And what did he do? Well, naturally, did he do? Was he like the nerd?
He was mad. He was mad at the Sally character. He got pissed off that he's like, how the hell is Leatherface gonna put her up on the chainsaw and like shake her around and she can still fire a shotgun?
That was pretty bad. We can all agree. Like that was completely
bad.
Unnecessary, right?
Yeah, and then the shotgun, like I said, mentioned too. Shotguns. Well, obviously we've never been shot by a shotgun, but whatever, she's shooting beanbags. That's what she was shooting, beanbags out of the fucking thing. He gets shot like multiple times.
Well, I'll remind you, Jackass Forever is trending worldwide. So in Jackass 1, I think Johnny Knoxville gets shot with a shotgun with a beanbag in it and stays standing. So he's much slighter of build than Leatherface. Am I right?
Yeah. I think it's like kind of hard to spoil, because even though I enjoyed the movie, I feel like everything you think is going to happen happens. There's no like surprises. There's no like reveal. It's like, no, if you've seen the first one, you know how this one's going to go.
Even if you didn't, if you just know what slasher movies are, I think that you would even kind of get it, because it's basically as soon as you saw the trailer, you're like, oh, this one just involves Gen Z. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but they weren't annoying about it. Like they started like, because everyone was under the impression that they were going to create these characters that were going to be like super like woke and super doing, gentrifying things.
Well, they were. Leatherface was against it.
Well, I know, but like, I felt like they were going to play up the whole like, oh, let's go get some avocado toast. But like, they had the look and they had the slight aesthetic of like those, you know, the people that people were expecting to see, but it didn't cross the line into being like over the top or like a caricature of Gen Z. I felt they were pretty believable up until like, I mean, they did do a fucked up thing with that woman, but I thought they were going to be more obnoxious.
Well, as soon as
See,
they got off the bus and I saw the guy with man bun, I'm like, all right, Leatherface, kill them all.
Well,
yeah. I think I was already rooting against them because of the whole "I'm going to cancel you, bro" thing. I was like, okay, like
Yeah,
I want all these people to die in every slasher movie, but I want them to hurt in this movie.
yeah, but that wasn't the kids though. That was the investors. So like what you just said was like,
Oh.
I'm gonna cancel you, bro. I thought that was gonna be the core group, like their whole thing.
Gotcha.
And so I really was like, okay, well, we're not gonna care about any of these. But really, I liked the older sister. She was probably my favorite character.
Yeah.
You know, I like that she fucked up and then she felt bad and kept trying to fix it. But you know,
Well, I kind of wish that they had a moment where it showed the kind of predatory nature for a distinction where they are manipulating these uncool people into becoming investors or something. Because Dante definitely has that point where he becomes callous, right? And I almost wish that, Melody, played by Sarah Yarkin, just a very feminine and suave last name, sounds like a character from Texas Chainsaw. Excuse me, of Next Generation. Damn it, you guys have melted my brain. But she's sitting there like clutching her pearls the whole time, and I think it makes it more impactful if she's clutching her pearls, but you realize that she was going to manipulate and take from other people. So it's almost like a realization of what she's done is wrong, as opposed to just being like, "Oops."
Yeah, I just think from the get-go, I don't know. I disagree with you a little bit, Mikey, because I feel like they were a little bit insufferable, especially at the gas station. Like she's talking shit about, oh, that guy was so cute. What was his name again? We were talking
Richter.
about this Richter.
Richter.
I mean, I live
but it wasn't.
I live in Florida. I've dated a redneck or two, so like that guy was pretty hot. But anyway,
He had a lifted truck and was listening to metal, and I was like,
know.
"Oh,
I
Pete
know.
is very aroused wherever she is watching this."
I had to change my sheets like twice while watching the movie, and he wasn't even in it.
I know. So anyway, that's where I disagree, because I feel like they made them insufferable so that when they do die, it's satisfying for the audience, because a lot of what some of the Chainsaw Massacres, especially the remakes, try to do was like really, I think, ingrain you into these characters that you really feel for, so that when they do die, it's like a really hard hit, right? And so I really wanted the older sister to die the whole time. And then by the end, when she redeems herself and she's in the car and she's saying sorry, I'm like, you know what? I kind of don't want her to die. I kind of don't want her to die. And then she dies. And I'm
Exactly.
like, ah! So that was good.
That made me so happy. I
know.
like, I've talked about that with quite a few people, like this rhyming verse, let's say, with the original, where Sally's being driven off in the bed of the truck and she's just kind of reconciling what she's just been through. And it's kind of the same thing in this, but using the Tesla autopilot was just hilarious. Like that, what I imagine that Toby Hooper, whatever afterlife exists, is very amused by that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was cute.
to me, there was two scenes that really like stood out as being awesome, and that was one, of course. And the first one, even though they showed it over and over in the trailer, is his head poking out of the sunflowers. I thought that was super effective. I don't know. I love that scene, and even whenever it showed up again in the movie, I like it. I don't know.
I thought he was taking a shit.
I know that.
Again,
There's so many things that Doug was disappointed that never happened.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more of the family, but I gotta say the annoying characters, that's kind of how Toby Hooper did the original too, because Franklin,
Yep.
yeah, because everyone besides Sally was annoying, I thought. And then in the second one, you get the yuppies with the ones with the glasses, you know what I mean? So yeah, the annoying characters are back.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's what I told the kids too, because I was like, if you want to watch some good sequels, The Next Generation, love it. And I'm like, it's on HBO Max. And then part 2, I think right now is on Tubi again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, and part 2 is really good. So, go back to those and enjoy that if you hated this one. So,
Well, I think what's one of the really interesting parts of the Texas Chainsaw structure, right? You look at, let's say, Friday the 13th, and the whole gimmick is always, oh, the kids are fucking and they're distracted and they're being punished, right? And then you have like Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's like that the kids are the kids of people who wronged Freddy or what have you. With this, it's literally just the other, but from the perspective of somebody who's being like encroached upon, right? Like, it's not necessarily they're being purposefully shitty, they are just the other, and because of that staunch contrast. And so, I'm kind of grateful that I'm going to cancel you, bro, or whatever was one of few things that happened like that, because they could have leaned into it more. So I do have to applaud having a bit of restraint to just let things be unsaid but different, right? They didn't have to go and have 15 moments where you have the old lady being like, oh, you're different than me, black man. They had that one sentence, and that was really impactful, as opposed to that being just beaten to death. So that's good.
Yeah. In fact, I think that the kids were a little bit worse with that. Like, why harass him that he has a gun? And then he had a perfectly plausible reason for why he carries the gun, because of the
Feral hogs.
Yeah, some of the hogs or something. And so, like, firstly, if I saw somebody carrying the gun, I'm not going to make comments. Like, and I think that's the general, what is that? Generational difference.
Oh, just kidding.
Between the millennials and the Gen Z, right? Because I mean, I feel like, and we're older millennials, like we're the old ones.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to, right? Like,
I think
we're
Am
in
I
the middle.
where you
We're in the
live.
middle.
I think it depends where you live, because like me and you, like you live in Florida, I live in Texas. It's probably pretty common for us to see that. But I don't know how it's in California. Do people open carry in California?
I mean, you see a lot of knives. You don't see a whole lot of guns. You see a lot of really tacky mall ninja shit knives, but pretty rare for guns.
But also, so we can talk about the random subplot of the school shooting, because Melody was also, I feel, being really protected because her sister was a victim of a school shooting, which is probably why she's sensitive to guns, which turns out actually she's more sensitive to them than, what was her name? The little girl?
Lila?
Yeah, than Lila, even though Lila was the one that got shot. A lot of people are saying it was unnecessary, and I tend to agree with them, just because I feel like they didn't use it as much as they could have, because it could have been a pretty impactful plot point and it's relevant, but it was just thrown in there for like 2 scenes of showing some sort of hardship.
It's interesting because I kind of blocked that out of my mind. So being in a school setting every day and seeing things like that, especially with Parkland being so close by and every Valentine's Day, the fact that the movie was released around Valentine's Day and the Parkland shooting happened on Valentine's Day, I don't know if that was purposeful or not, to have that type of character like that. It's just, there's already this character going through trauma, and I feel that is probably the most, I don't know if they pigeonholed it or in, but something that like kind of impacts the Gen Z generation the most are those things, because how many shootings have we had now at this point? How many kids have died? How many people have been maimed and hurt and probably have been in those situations and been that young? And it kind of like, I think, gave an arc to her character in the sense, because eventually she sort of wants to embrace and learn how to use the gun. She picks it up and then she's able to use it by the end. I don't know if that's insensitive to use that in a horror film, but again, it's a horror film, and I feel like it's more of a commentary on what, like, Leatherface is scary. He's coming after her, but she's been through worse. In my opinion, she's watched all her friends die around her, and she almost dies herself. And she's dying in the school in a setting where she should be safe. So I don't know.
Yeah, this hits me. My wife is also a teacher, and we have 2 kids starting school. We're looking at school stuff. We see backpacks that are bulletproof being sold to children. That's a very tough thing to stomach. While I'm watching it, I'm thinking in my mind, is this exploitative? Is this in poor taste? What are the statistics here? And so just now we were talking, I pulled up 2021 in the US, there were 34 school shootings, which isn't bad. But when you factor in that 24 of them occurred after August for that last 4-month period, that's crazy. So, I mean, when you think about like, oh, what are the odds? Because we've all heard me complain so much about the coincidental stuff. Sometimes I give it a pass, sometimes I don't. And so it's like, oh, is it a coincidence that the star of this movie is that? Statistically speaking, the likelihood of this happening is not that crazy. It just feels like it to us because these instances happen much more infrequently when we were kids. I mean, if you think about it, if you project out the locations, the frequency, the amount of years you spend in school, being at least in some way involved in a school shooting, I mean, that's what, even let's say 1 in 10,000, that's better odds you're getting in Vegas that you've been involved in a school shooting. So it's really not that dire. I keep getting torn. Sorry to keep rambling at this point, but whether she should have been the central character so that the trauma that she's reliving can be kind of a simile for what she's already gone through, or if it's good that she's a background character and people are imprinting their experience onto her as somebody who's suffering. Because we see that all the time, whether people are going through depression, going through domestic violence, or just people imprint on them how they're supposed to feel rather than letting them organically do it. So what do you guys think about that? Boom, talking point.
Doug, go ahead.
Mikey, why don't you go ahead first?
No. Mikey, why don't Aid go ahead first? Aid, why don't Jake go ahead?
Okay, fine. I mean, I don't know if I thought that Lila was a background character. I mean, I guess her older sister was supposed to be the main. I thought her older sister was supposed to be the background character and Lila's the main character. No?
They literally remand Lila to the bus, though, while you follow Melody on her adventures.
Well, yeah, but you always follow the people at the beginning who are going to die first. That doesn't necessarily make them, because Dante, like, oh my God, I got his face split open. That was so cool. And they finally showed
that
it.
was
Like,
cool.
yes.
And that was a quick side note. That was one thing that this movie did amazing, was just the deaths and the gore.
Yeah.
His face reminded me of the guy from Slither. When it reached
like,
back.
That was cute. Yeah.
To your point, Jake, I don't. It's hard because it's something that we also don't really want to think about as being a reality. You know, there's already that. I'm never one to tell a movie not to have something in it unless it's like real animal torture, or like
Cannibal Ferox.
Yeah, like anything that's real. So I'm not one to be like, oh, they shouldn't include it. But like my thing is like, just do it honor and do it justice. I think that it is a reality that a lot of kids face, unfortunately. I don't think it was done in any disrespectful way. When you have a platform like that and you're addressing a situation like that, you could do so much more to kind of like make the audience aware that, you know, like, and I don't want to get too social commentary, but like this does happen. Like it may sound like I can't talk today. It may seem outlandish to have it in the movie, but when you actually start breaking it down and realizing it, like, oh shit, like there very well could be someone out there that has this scar that we don't know about. And then as far as like the main character goes, I think we followed Melody around because we wanted that retribution from her of changing, you know, her mindset. And also we had to build up that care for her so that at the end we're heartbroken when she gets decapitated.
Yeah.
But we knew the virginal, innocent final girl was always Lila.
Yeah.
I wasn't heartbroken. I just thought, oh, H&M just lost a well-paying customer.
Oh my God.
Forever 21, maybe never 21. Boom.
All right. Well, I'm gonna dip out because we have some background noises coming on. So thank you guys for letting me jump in, and you can go back to your free balling episode. No?
Or you could just press mute when you're not talking. It's easy. Stop trying to run away from your feelings. You're not going to be a quitter on me during Women's March. You're going to show us how much you can endure, like women do.
Okay.
Like ask my long-suffering wife. Boom. So Doug, I used some 10-penny words. What's something that you like thematically in the movie that we might not have touched on?
Okay, well, one thing I did like is that Leatherface was kind of back to his old ways again. Like one of my favorite shots in the first movie is the opening. Like for example, when you see the corpse kind of displayed on the tombstone. This one you get that he skins the old lady and then he puts her in the field and she has like one of the rotten sunflowers on her. Like that's awesome.
The worst scarecrow I've ever seen. Because if I don't know why they did it, but her, like she had lips still, so she had like this what looked like Play-Doh around. I laughed hard. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that was great. And I gotta say too, like the first time I watched it, the movie was like, okay, I mean, it's fine. It's not my favorite sequel, but I watched it a second time with Yahira. And I'm like, it's fast and easy. It reminded me a lot of Chopping Mall, where it's quick, fast, out and in a hurry. And it had it wasn't like waxing its carrot, like, oh my God, it's gonna be like the first movie, like, oh my, remember this, remember this. Like a lot of these movies are nowadays. Like, honestly, I'll be honest with you, I can't fucking stand the new Halloween Kills and Halloween 2018 because it's all like, you remember that? Like, I cringe so hard on the Halloween Kills one when they go back to the first one and that little kid turns back and he's like, it was the boogeyman. You remember this night in 1970? So, I can't say that. This one didn't do it and didn't walk you over and repeat the same things of characters saying, oh, do you remember back on that night in 1970? No one fucking remembers. And I love it because it's a commentary. When Sally gets killed in it, it's like, fuck you to all these legendary characters. Like she even comes in with a shotgun and she says, do you remember me? Don't you? No, Leatherface doesn't even remember her.
I love that.
Yeah.
That reminds me of like one of my favorite bits of cinema ever. And I say this completely unironically, is Street Fighter, the movie. Chun-Li pours her heart out to M. Bison, talking about how he and his band of goons killed her father. And he says, to you, that was the most important day of your life. To me, it was Tuesday. Because people build up this sense of self-importance and they imagine they're the main character in everybody's lives. And it's like, you don't fucking matter. It doesn't matter at all. And for her not to was so like great. I was so just in love with that idea. And especially because it kind of takes, and correct me if you think differently, it creates the idea that like Leatherface is just a force of nature. He's not a calculating creature. He's not a master of evil with the curse of thorn. He's just muscles moving. And I like that because I feel like every other character gets either too sympathetic or too swayed in one direction. But I feel like a through line from Texas Chainsaw 1 to presently is that. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. And yeah, because she's like, say my name. And he just walks right past her. It's like, I don't give a fuck about you. You're the one that's bad. You wasted all your years when you were in your 20s to when you're fucking 70 years old now, me haunting you. But I don't even think about that. He even, like, when he kills her, he throws her in the fucking trash pile. That's just showing
exactly. So deliberate, right?
Yeah.
I really appreciated that. I really wish she didn't have the moment where she like, oh, here, take the gun. I think that she should have been dead. Because A, the gratuitous violence to get her there. And so it's a kind of hokey, the idea that she's still alive. But B, I think that the message kind of gets conflated. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I did that, when we did that slashers review for the movie, I recorded that after I watched it. And now after watching it the second time, I'm like, maybe I could go back on that review and praise it a little more because I was still under the impression that it was trying to repeat what Halloween Kills and this was better than Halloween Kills and Halloween 2018, to be honest. This did it better than any of those movies.
I have to agree with you, Doug. I wasn't really a big fan of those two either.
Well, especially with Halloween Kills, like I rewatched that again recently and I'm just like, it is so fucking cringy. Like when they're repeating things like, you remember that night on Nine Turn Shot, remember that Halloween night, and besides Evil Dies Tonight and all that stuff, they keep mentioning it. I'm like, shut up. What is this? Like some fucking sticky cum-filled fan fiction? Some slutty guy at a convention wrote.
No, because I would have liked it.
Thankfully, it's ending this year. So I mean,
is it
Halloween better end?
I know they dragged it on. I think that they tried too much with Kills, and Doug, I agree with you. I think this was a better remake than both the 2018 and Halloween Kills. And I'll probably get a lot of flack for this, but at this point, I really don't care because I don't think Halloween Kills was as effective as it should have been. And it's, oh my God, so annoying. It was just annoying.
It's cringy. I haven't cringed that hard in a while, and I'm watching like, ooh.
Yeah, for such a big budget movie with a lot of power behind it, I was like, did anybody test screen this?
Like the best
Yeah.
part was the gay couple. They were my favorite part.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
they
what is
should-
it? Big John, Little John?
Yeah, they should have just did the whole fucking movie around them, and then like, show Jamie every few minutes, and then like it's like bring new characters into this. You don't need to center the movie around characters long gone. And I mean,
I
And
did
then
like
just-
it, though.
yeah, the ending was good, but with Michael being what Michael is, like that was the only thing that with the Chainsaw Massacre that I was like, oh, she's shooting him with a shotgun, so now he's Michael Myers and he's indestructible, and then did you see how fast he was running? Like I'd never seen Leatherface run so. I mean, I know he ran fast in the 70s, but like he's fucking old now. Like how is he running? He was
Also,
running so fast.
can we talk
Sorry.
about the timeline? It's a little convoluted, right? The idea, like, when would he have been in the home? Was it implying that he was put in the home after the events? That was a little bit screwy. I think that almost to the point of maybe making it Leatherface's son or something might have been better. And you're wondering like who the mom is, something like gross, like implied, something that they've done.
Well, they tried that with that Leatherface movie that came out, the one with the French filmmakers, and then like that movie's just so convoluted and up its own ass.
You mean Leatherback?
Leatherback, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing with that movie, have you guys seen that one, Leatherface?
No,
They
it's
try
been
to
on my
throw-
watch list for fucking years and I've never gotten to it.
It's honestly, it's not bad if you don't see it as a Texas Chainsaw movie. It's more like a French extreme film to me.
That's what I've heard. It's like more of the high tension kind of.
Yeah, it's very much like high tension, and they make Leatherface like a 17-year-old like hunk. Like it's like, what the, this is not Leatherface. And they have a fat character in there that's they make you try to believe that that's Leatherface, and then you realize it's like, oh wait, no, this country bumpkin is
Oh.
Leatherface. And I'm like, that's not, no, what the fuck? Like, how does he go from that to, it just didn't make any sense.
I can
Um,
see how you go from that to that. Look at my
Yeah.
eyes and look at me now.
Well, no,
Oh
because
my God.
Leatherface in the movie, he's like this talkative guy that's like, hi, my name's, they call me Bubba. Hi everyone. Hi, I'm a hunk. Hi. Like he's kind of like that throughout the movie. I'm like, how did that go from? But it was honestly, this one, you said the timeline was messed up in this new one. The timeline was messed up in Texas Chainsaw 3D. That girl was supposed to be his cousin. Wouldn't she be in her 40s?
Cousins
Oh.
can be a little bit staggered, but yeah.
I
I'm
think she
looking
was
at
like
this-
a second cousin. But
Okay.
Fuck that one. I hate that one.
I like that one. Let's fight about it. I'm just kidding.
Let's.
Um,
I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think the guy who played Leatherface in this movie that Doug's talking about could probably get Mikey. Sam Strike, and that is his real name. It sounds like a really shitty stage name, or like that he'd be a G.I. Joe character. But he's a cute little kid. And then the movie had the bad Iron Fist. So I might watch this tonight.
Okay, yeah. Let me show you. Like he's like this model, and it's
Twinkie
like
little
you're
boy,
trying-
yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to pass this off as Leatherface. Okay, I
Um,
can't. I'm trying to show you, but the green screen's taking it up.
I'm
But yeah,
looking now.
that is not Sam Strike. That is not fucking. I don't care what you say. It's like, I don't know. I was watching. I'm like,
Well-
I am not believing this at all.
Because it's implied that Leatherface has some sort of mental disability, right? Like he's not all there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that, I mean, I guess years of abuse could have broken him down to that way, but I feel like because of his disability, that's why they abuse him, because they know that they can. So I don't understand where you go from this, this, what is it? This little Tom Holland looking kid to
Wow, that's funny because I just saw a thing looking up Sam Strike where it said that he was not going to be the new Spider-Man. I was like, very good.
yeah, well, there you go. So I'm just like, okay. And whatever. I guess it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like they're trying to like recreate this story. And I don't really think that it needs the reboot type. I don't think it needs that because it's not just Leatherface, it's the whole family that makes the film.
Yes, that's my biggest gripe is that we're basically introducing, albeit royalty in the Borg Queen, who is she? Why does she matter? Why does she matter so much to him? I get that the family's been dead, but like it doesn't work. And if you're trying to do a new continuity, you can do a new continuity. You can make it more clearly established. And I think that certain times I like ambiguity in film. Like is going back to Texas Chainsaw, the original. I like that things aren't explained. But in this one, if you're going to be reliant on it, you do have to explain. You don't get the benefit of having it be mysterious, but also contingent on this other existing intellectual property.
Yeah, because like she could have like driven out that way to like pick up some chickens or some shit and like found him alone after the cave was blown up after part 2.
Yeah.
And he's alone in the house and she just takes him in. Like it could
I
have
would
been
love
just a
that.
quick little scene, like, okay, here you go. Come on. Come be
Yeah,
my
so this
little
could be a
Bubba.
sequel to part 2.
Yeah, which would make sense because he's all alone. Like if he survived, because he's blown up, right? But we don't really know. We don't really know what happened.
Well, he had a
to
big
him.
ass chainsaw in his gut.
Because
It's
part
dependent
3
on-
is all over the place. And then
Yeah.
I think after that they tried to bring like a hot guy into the mix because we have Viggo Mortensen in part 3 and then we've got Matt McConaughey in part 4.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, they're trying to like just drag the ladies in on this one, right? But I don't know. I think a sequel to part 2 would make better sense in this case because then all the family would have been dead.
I think that one of the things I actually kind of enjoy about it, contrary to what y'all are saying, is it didn't try to mess with the mythos of Leatherface. It was just a sequel. They didn't try to rewrite any history. They didn't try to be like, ignore this timeline. It was just like, here's Jake, here we go. I know. What Aid said would have been cool if they would have just briefly explained how he ended up in her, what's it called? Adoption.
Or orphanage.
Orphanage. Adoption Mart.
Yeah.
Where we have orphans galore.
Adoption. But yeah, I just like that. I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about where he came from. Like we all know that. We all know his history. It's just Leatherface killing people. Sometimes it's just what you want. It's a quickie, like in the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Quickie is good. This movie's actually shorter than the original by a minute, but here's my thing.
Mhm.
It's that stupid picture that ruins it because it is implied, given the fact that he's in the picture, that he is of the age group of those children.
Yeah.
If they had done anything to delineate that maybe she brought him on as staff or something, then all those questions are completely relieved. But because they keep it ambiguous, you're just like, is he young? Is he not? But then he's got gray, but then he doesn't have all gray. And those things just conflate unnecessarily.
And I really don't like that they showed his face.
I didn't like it either. He looks really young too.
Yeah.
Like he was just sitting in the corner. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Because never in a million years would I have thought that was Leatherface. Like,
yeah, it's like Rob Zombie gained some weight.
Maybe, because what would make more sense, in my opinion, which obviously is different from everybody else's on this show. I'm just kidding.
Mikey, that is not true.
I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
So like, I think it would be more plausible if the family actually got him from the adoption agency and then like fucked him up. And then I don't know, maybe because they died, because back then they were old, that he went back to the place where he came from.
That's great.
Okay. But tell
In
us.
one sentence, she says, the only boy I ever had who got returned. Something like that,
Yeah.
He was returned as defective goods, and you just move on from there. That clarifies, but as it stands, as far as that's what I mean. You can't have the ambiguity and not, because I always took it that the family in the first one was more like the way that the Ninja Turtles are brothers, where it's like, we're family, but we're not like blood family necessarily. Given the age gaps and the way that they look, it does definitely seem to be that Edwin Neal and Jim Seadow's characters are related because they look a lot alike, but it definitely feels like, with Gunnar being so physically different, that there's something. Is he a half brother? Is he an inbred something? So I think yours could have worked. Why weren't you sitting there with Fede Alvarez and Chris Thomas Devlin giving them notes?
I had a couple of DMs from them, but they were just inappropriate. I didn't know that it was going to lead to something.
You don't lead with the dick pic, Fede Alvarez. You lead with, hi, my name is Fede Alvarez. But
Oh.
to your earlier point about seeing his face, legitimately, I thought it was the actor Mark Boone Jr. He was in Memento. He was in 30 Days of Night. If you Google him, he's just the guy who like has a scraggly beard and is big. And I thought he was just going to be in this movie. So I was like, oh, cool. I like that guy. And then it turns out he's the murderer for the film. And I was like, not the same. Don't like that. Nope.
No.
And
Yeah.
it conflates the trans message a little bit, which I'm a little bit offended by.
What do you mean?
Given the fact that he's like presented in such a burly and masculine way, and the fact that he has this big bushy beard, I understand that it's meant to be a starker contrast when he puts on her face and puts the makeup on. That is Leatherface. I mean, that's in the first movie, he wears two women's masks. Clearly, there's no ambiguity there. It's not that it's like, you know, and so I've always liked it because he was very heavily influenced by Ed Gein. And so it gets a little bit frustrating to me to see it not be front and center. In fact, I feel like, I mean, we were just talking about it. You live in Texas. You have this new regulation where you have parents of trans kids being persecuted. It's crazy to me to think that we've progressed so far as a culture, and yet we still have pockets of discrimination that people are just largely okay with. And I feel like that's something that even a lot of Gen Z aren't necessarily forward thinking. So it'd be even a pretty cool way in my summation to show how regressive these quote unquote woke people were. But you know, missed opportunity. But I mean, that's one of the frustrating parts of this movie is we never really know the circumstances of its production because of changes, because of budgetary constraints. This was going to be a theatrical, then it gets to streaming, and before it's even done, how many re-edits did we see? How were, you know, was filming compromised? Those are all things where I'm giving it a little bit more of grace now than I think I would if I just saw this 10 years from now, removed from the kind of socioeconomic whatever we're going through.
Yeah. Oh, another interesting point that I heard of, which it's similar, is that, you know, with all these requels happening, I've been watching a lot of debate back and forth on Facebook about it, and people are saying, do you think this Scream 5 is being held to the same standards as this movie? Because people are going really hard on this one, but they kind of let Scream 5 get away with a lot of the sins they're saying this one committed.
I have a good explanation as to why, but let's hear your other thoughts first, because I've rambled a lot this episode.
Well, I think one interesting fact too is that there's another version of this movie that we're probably never going to see, because the director shot a bunch of stuff and he was fired.
Why was he fired?
I don't know. I guess they said if Fede said it was not good or something didn't match up. I don't know. So I'm curious to see what that stuff was.
Yeah, and so that probably would be interesting to see that version, because I feel like it probably would fall more in the vein. I don't know.
Well, it's probably too that's the one thing, like I said, if it gets too fan fiction-y, that's why I'm glad they didn't explain who that woman was in relationship to Leatherface, because they could have went off on tangents. You know, this is short, sweet, and to the point. Like, do we really, like, we're going back to Chopping Mall, do we really need to know, oh, the company that built these robots, why do they? No, it's just fun. Like, that's how this one is. Hop it in.
I think that the reason that Scream gets a pass is because it is constructed on a basis of being sardonic and deconstructive and reconstructive. And the fact that you have a lot of those issues, it works. Where it fails, it's also highlighting the failures of other franchises. It's turning the lens back. Whereas Texas Chainsaw is this argument of diminishing returns, because so many people say that all the sequels are bad, and it's like, that's not true. It's patently untrue. People say that the remake is bad. It's simply not true. Might not be as good, but it doesn't make it bad. This movie is frustrating to me because it is inarguably not as good as the original, but it's almost bad. To me, I think that it's better. I think there are redeeming qualities, especially if you give it the handicap of the circumstances. Like Doug said, you lose your director, you have all these other situations going on. I can only imagine what reshoots were like. So I'll give it a little bit there. But yeah, I don't think that you can compare the two, because the nature of the Texas Chainsaw franchise, even, or probably especially when they did try and do reinventions, like look at 2, they had to do hard course corrections where people were like, absolutely the fuck not.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and then to your point about Scream 5 getting away with things, I wonder if the fact that with Scream 5, it's more relevant to a certain group of people. Whereas I think if you're thinking of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you're dealing with people back from the 70s, right? That maybe watched it as a kid and now coming back and watching this one. That's how many like years in between, right? So like what, 40, 50 years? Oh my God. How old are people in the 70s? From the 70s? 40 in their 40s?
40s. No,
Yeah,
that's if they're born in the 70s.
Okay, so like 40 something years or whatever. So, I mean, people are so far removed from the first one. So it's like you have different generations watching these. With Scream, I mean, I know it's old, but it's not eh, like any kid nowadays has seen the first one, right? Every kid has seen Scream.
Any self-respecting kid has, yes.
Well, yeah, but it's part of their, like that's like when we were growing up, everybody saw, Friday the 13th, right? Or we all saw Chucky, we all saw those. So, we didn't grow up with it or anything. It came out before we were born, a lot of these movies, but we just know, I don't know if that has anything to do with it. And plus with Scream, it came out in theaters. I think that really, the fact, all the big hype, having all the same people come back, like Scream was going to get away with more regardless, in my opinion. So I don't know if it, and if you don't have Netflix, then you're not watching this one, right? So
I think it's a really good point when you mentioned the actors returning. That's another thing that I've always felt kind of subverted the Texas Chainsaw franchise to an extent, where you don't have recurring characters aside from Leatherface, really. You go from 1 to 2, no one's the same except for him. You continue that kind of lineage throughout where it's a reinvention and reimagination. You do that. And so there are certain advantages to that. It's almost like the Man Without a Name trilogy from Clint Eastwood, right? But then it's also, you lose that because you don't have the sentimentality of those characters. You don't have limping Dewey where you're like, I'm rooting for you, buddy, because I watched you die and I was relieved when you lived, like those kinds of things. That's a good point. Good job, Ed. Gold star. You get the goldest star. Mikey, you've been demoted. You just have a kind of tarnished gold star now.
Demoted to what? I'm right like on the lowest level of anything.
Oh, don't neg yourself, booby.
Just make me feel better and tell me how pretty I am.
No, I won't.
Oh, okay.
you guys are so mean. Anyways, but we need to hear more from Doug because, like, Doug, I want to hear more from you.
Yeah, and I need to find headphones while you talk to it.
Okay. So yeah, we left off on why Scream got away with more. Well, I can't really say much because I haven't seen the new Scream yet. I'm cheap. I'll wait for it to come on streaming or something. But in terms of just an overall sequel, I mean, you know me, I actually like The Next Generation. Besides like 1 and 2, I like that one. And people fucking hate that movie. I still see people are reviewing this new one from Netflix and they say, you want a bad movie? You should see Texas Chainsaw 2. Now that's a bad movie. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the good thing about these movies, because each one is, besides the first two, they're so drastically different. So it's like, if you say this one's bad, I don't know. Honestly, if you ask me, the worst one I think is the third one because it's just so stale.
Yeah, it's safe. It's a course correction, right? Where they went too weird and then they're trying to go back. And it kind of feels like that with this one. By being so directly comparable to the first one, you get all the losing elements because you're just going to sit there and go, why the first one was better than this? Whereas between 1 and 2, with that incredible genre shift, you have to make some kind of tenuous arguments to be able to compare 1 and 2, right? They're just different movies.
Yeah, so I learned to appreciate it, but this is one that I'm like, after the first time watch, I think it was just the adrenaline of watching it, a new Texas Chainsaw movie, and kind of taking in all these different opinions that I had to like form it myself. But when I watched it the second time, that was like grabbing all those opinions and making my own and just kind of making my own mold. And I'm like, this is a fun movie. I really fucking like this movie. Kudos to the filmmakers. Yeah, so I really I do like the bus massacre scene. What else do we have in here? The just all the characters die, which I love because
it doesn't happen enough.
And did you see the Marvel like cinematic post credit ending?
Him walking to a house, not the house.
Yeah. Now, see, if they really wanted to fan nuts, they'd have a chopped up and I was like, hey, there you are, Leatherface. What took you so long?
Hey, come over here. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the only sad thing I think that we could have included him in it. And if they had done that, I imagine all of the people flipping the fuck out
Yeah.
and like, and so I just don't understand all of the hate. I get you don't have to like it. I mean, there's movies not like, but like what is the hate? I don't understand the hate of it. And I mean, and everyone bitching about the bus. And I made this point earlier on a couple different, I think on the Discord, but everybody was drunk as fuck. People were probably on drugs. They were like raving in that bus. And then this idiot with a mask comes on and he's got a chainsaw. Like, I mean, everyone's probably out of it. They don't think anything of it. They think they could just cancel him with their phones. And then they panic. And so I get that they couldn't really get out because nobody was thinking clearly. And and if they got out, then we wouldn't have these beautiful, beautiful shots, people just getting mowed down and just blood everywhere, and that girl getting sliced in half. And then I knew when she fell out, like all of her guts coming out. It was so good. It was so good. Sorry, Jake.
I have to say something, because yes, I can give some passes to the substance abuse, right? That's totally fine. I get it. But bus windows for safety easily pop out. In fact, when I was a kid and we were on a field trip, we popped one of them out to the point where we couldn't get it back. It was a big thing. But what the problem I have is the fact that a guy with a butt fucking chainsaw comes in and steps there, and people have the wherewithal to like sit and talk and make little jokey jokes. I can understand a couple of the people having the phone. It's a little too ham-fisted to have everybody have the phone and have that stupid quip. Imagine this scenario comparable to the original. Because my favorite fucking part of the entire Texas Chainsaw is when the dude's walking and gets clubbed in the head, dragged in, doors slammed, no explanation. Force of nature, boom.
Done.
If you had Leatherface stomp onto that fucking bus like powerfully, stomp, 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 rev, boom. That would be beautiful. That would be like people talking about it like the stupid Rogue One Darth Vader thing. But this was just because it starts off with a joke that went off like we're in Women's Month, so I'll say a queef instead of a fart. Then it just kind of ruined what was otherwise pretty great gore.
I don't understand why people hate that line so much. I don't know.
They had to have something for the trailer.
It wasn't.
Well, here's what I'll say. I get, and it's not really going on. Well, no, it goes with it. But before we were going to talk about Texas Chainsaw, like our topic was like kind of movies that we either loved or hated.
Yeah.
And so I want to bring something up because there's a movie, like for example, what Texas Chainsaw did with this Netflix one, was that it wasn't ham-fisted and it didn't say we're gonna bring back these characters. It didn't build anything up for like fans of the original. It's like, okay, we're gonna see what we have, because there's a movie, and I have it in my hands right here. And it built it up. This didn't come up for years. And the only way to watch it was on DVD. And they said, we're going to bring back characters from the original movie. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So it really pumped me up. And when I saw it, I fucking hated it. I'm like, what the fuck did you do? That's Return to Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys seen Return to Sleepaway Camp?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Because
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. Oh, you love it? Okay. Well,
That doesn't mean you can't hate on it or talk shit about it.
No,
I
no.
love bad movies.
Well, no, it's not even that it's bad. It's the way it was marketed, I think. Okay, so with the original Sleepaway Camp, I love the original Sleepaway Camp, and I love the sequels. In fact, I like the sequels a little more than the first one. But I loved the first movie, and I loved the characters because they're so fucking vulgar. And you get Angela, who's a boy. But in this one, I remember the magazine article said we're going back to the original. It's a sequel to the original film, and they bring it back, and it's everything that's wrong. They get like who's in here?
Isaac Hayes.
Isaac Hayes. They have all these characters that don't matter, and we already know Angela's the fucking killer. Why are you going to give this annoying, obnoxious character the red herring and make him seem like he's the killer? Like, so this movie could have easily, Texas Chainsaw could have easily done what Return to Sleepaway Camp did. Like, we're going to bring back Sally. We're going to bring back Leatherface. We're going to bring back the cook. But no, it's just like a big fuck you to all those fans that are fanning their nuts to see this here. So this movie is really just a big fuck you, and it's a good sequel. Return to Sleepaway Camp is not.
Depending who you ask.
I watched, depending on who you ask. There is a good kill in this movie with the bunk bed sandwich. I did like that.
I just like the part where the guy gets stabbed in the eye and his roommate screams like a girl. That part cracked me up.
Oh, when the people, yeah, there's good kills in here, but when you have, that's like saying we're gonna make like they could have done like we're bringing back Leatherface and then have like Nicki Minaj as like the lead role, have her throughout the movie.
I
And then
would
all of a
love
sudden,
that.
yeah, and then when they reveal Leatherface, Leatherface pulls his mask off and it's some other character that you didn't like. Who the fuck is this?
Cardi B.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just my thing on there. But then again, I'm fans of movies like this here, like 555. You know what I mean? So shot on video trash. So what's not to like with the new Texas Chainsaw for me? It pleased me.
Me too.
So
It pleased you, huh?
it pleased me.
It was tantalizing, even though I'm the only one defending it. But
Oh my
Yeah, I had to smoke a cigarette afterwards. Do they still smoke cigarettes after sex? I don't know.
I
No,
don't
it's
think
vaping
I
now.
don't know. Yeah.
I watch Euphoria and it's vaping.
Oh, it's
Oh.
vaping.
That's so stupid. Like, come on. Oh.
But yeah, no, after my second watch on Texas Chainsaw, so you guys listening, get yourself a nice piece of meat or a hunk of ham or a slice of pie, sit down and watch it. And then afterwards you'll be like, yeah, this was a good movie.
I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it to people just because of how many people hate it. In my like social circle, I'm the one that likes it.
Oh, well, I liked it.
I liked it. What do you mean social circle? We are the social
I liked
circle.
it too. I talked a bunch of shit, but I'm explaining why it could this was never going to be a great movie, but I'm glad to have seen it. This isn't even just the horror merit badge system or whatever. Like it's good. It's just I'm explaining why I'm not sitting there like rubbing nuts with it, but also I'll defend it because there's a lot of worse sequels. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's bad sequels.
I think it was good for what it was, and I just don't understand the hate. And I'm surprised, like all of the guys on Damn That Scary pod liked it. I mean, they probably liked it more than we did. So, and they hate they always like are the opposite of us when it comes to stuff. So,
remember when Doug and I were like, Tro March fucking rules, and they like lost their minds, and then Will even gave up watching the movies.
Yeah, and that was their idea, and like all of you made me like subjected me to this, and they're like they didn't even finish it. I was
I'm
like,
kind of
what the hell?
permanently branded stick of bad movies. I got Toxie right here, so so yeah, Troma. We got to do True March 2.
I wanted to so bad, but we had a women's march instead of Tro March.
Well, you took away Women's Month from February. I had to deal with robots, so now you have to deal with vaginas, and then you can have your trauma after that.
There is an Asian movie called Killer Pussy. A lady has a vagina snake that comes out.
Oh, well, there you
A
go.
Vagina snake?
Vagina dada.
Yeah, vagina dentata.
Don't ever make me watch Teeth ever again.
Vagina snake tata.
It's funny. Teeth is on Tubi. They only have the Spanish version, but they call it dientes.
Awesome.
So, being in Texas, I can tell you a lot of my fellow horror fans in Texas are really mad that it wasn't filmed in Texas or in America at all. But I didn't even I really liked the scenery and the backdrop, and it's not too far off of what Texas looks like, to be honest. I don't know if we have those huge ass dead sunflowers here, but I'm not gonna check.
Yeah, that's like kind of like a faux pas, right? Like, how are you gonna have Texas Chainsaw Massacre? That's like like American Nightmare, but it's filmed in Canada. Yeah.
I did find a really funny meme that was in response to Greg Abbott's stupid new rule about reporting trans kids' parents. And it said, you guys know how I know I would survive the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? My ass would never be found in Texas.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well.
Yeah, I think we've hit the end. I love that we fell backwards into a full-length episode on a trending media thing. So that worked out because we were just going to talk some shit. So, Doug, tell us all about Grandpa Oates and how he is related to the Texas Chainsaw family.
Oh, well, I think for legal reasons he's not, but
Yes, correct.
yeah. So Grandpa Oats Cinema Woodchopper. If you have a Roku, go to B Movie TV. It's gonna air Sundays at 10. A lot of crazy episodes. Grandpa, he kind of looks like this new Leatherface with the skinned woman, old lady mask on there. Grandpa Oats has been falling apart for years. He's 175 years old. His dick's all shriveled up and fell off. So watch his show and yeah, definitely give him some support. Jake's in there fucking sand. We got some crazy televangelists. We got an interview with Felicia Fisher. She gives some phone sex tips to Grandpa Oates and his nursing home buddies. And yeah, we got heroin junkie coffee gnomes in there too, and a ton more stuff too. It's a crazy show and a crazy movie to boot. Every Sunday it'll be a different movie.
And I'll show you. This is the graphic that Jake's worked on for the Grandpa Oates show.
Yeah, there we go. Look at he's got more poop stains on him. I like it.
He does. I added that.
You got to send me that one. I have the one he's more clean. Yeah, so yeah, Grandpa Oates, that's gonna be the new show. And then Fridays, it's Friday Night Action at 8 p.m. I'm doing more episodes on that. And then Yahira has some new episodes for Saturday Night Tears. And when it's not Yahira on Saturday nights at 10 p.m., it's gonna be Jake. So some reruns. He's in syndication like Roseanne.
Yeah, I can still do episodes. I'll make a triumphant return if the people ask for it. But
yeah,
Yahira does a great job, so why the hell not?
Well, see, the thing with Yahira, she only has a few days. She only has Tuesdays and Fridays off. So when we film, she's like, "Oh, I don't know if I could do this." But then when I'm done editing, she's like, "I like it. I want to do more." I'm like, "Well, make up your mind."
Well, you
Yeah,
made her
well-
look. Bleh. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go. No, I'm gonna cut it out.
I was just saying she looks adorable. So yay.
Well, it's her good reason to buy different things. Like she's always on Amazon buying. Her favorite brand now is Kufandy. And I've never heard of Kufandy, but
Ooh.
it's on Amazon. She's like, I'm gonna wear this. She has a Valentine's Day one coming up for well, no, that was the vampire one. And then the next one that's airing is They Don't Cut the Grass Anymore. She's wearing her gardener's outfit. So
Nice. All right. So we all have stuff that we're plugging. Well, for the posterity's sake, just follow Slashers Pod on shit. You want to get in contact with us and plug your own stuff? I'm open to the idea of doing ads. You want to pay me some sweaty money? Give me some sweaty money. slasherspod@gmail.com. And also, we have a Patreon page. And also, we have a Redbubble page. And also, if there's another way that you'd like to give us money, such as coffee or buy me a coffee or what the fuck ever, you can absolutely do that. Or just send me just the severed head of a conservative, and I'll be happy to go. For Adrian, Doug, and Mikey, my name is Jake saying goodbye and good die.